So in 116, we need to be able to recognize our filters and be able to write them properly. So if we look at exercise 1, and these books are yours, feel free to write them up, highlight them, do whatever you want. Okay? The question is, how many widgets, item number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, were sold in 2007? And it's giving us some possible fields to pull from. Customer number, document type, item number, invoice number, posting date. It says we need 2 filters. Well, the first one that I would see is that item number, right? We want to know how many of a specific item. So as we look at our possible fields, we need to get the item number. And the filter we're going to use is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? I want it when the item number is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The other one is our date. It says in 2007. We may have a number of years of data in our database. We need to filter it to just 2007. And the way I would do 2007 would be something like this. 01, 01, 07, dot, dot, 12, 31, 07. For those of you that are used to working in Nav, you could even do 01, 01, 07, dot, dot, 12, 31, 07, without the slashes. Either way will work. So those are my 2 filters. Dates are probably one of the most commonly used filters you will come across. I would say maybe 1 out of every 20 or 30 reports I write doesn't have a date filter. You're going to find it's very, very common. Because nobody ever wants to run a report for one day or one certain time. Happens over and over and over again.
So Brian, are we supposed to do this in a box or somewhere? Or?
Yeah, if you want to write it right in your book, you can. Right?
No, I'm saying, is this exercise supposed to happen in a menu in Excel?
Nope. We're just talking about the concepts right now.
Okay.
So I want to be able to say, yes, I can identify the filters that I want to use and the values that are going to be applied to it.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Let me interrupt. When you're building these type of filters,
Mm-hmm.
and I know it goes in that one box on your
The JFX?
Yeah, your JFX, your building.
Right.
Can you? I know we said that you can link that to another formula, but that was actually hard coded in there. Can I create another formula to actually write that range, and it's going to show up in a formula format on whatever you're referencing back, but it would still work. So if it's a concatenation of something else.
Right, so if I did something just like today, like I want to run the report for today, but just something, and then you concatenate it with other stuff. Yes, right. You can build functions and formulas that would do that.
Okay, and then if you link it up to that formula, it will work. There. Okay.
Yep. Cool. Because what it's going to do is when it runs the report, it's going to look at that. Excel's already going to have evaluated that, and it's going to say, okay, well, I know what that new value is.
Okay. I just want to know, even though if it's a formula, if it's still a formula, would it still work? Yeah. Okay.
Can you do a NL function within an NL function, like an if-then function based using like a retrieval? Or no? Would you say it's better just to do multiple filters to get what you want?
It is possible to build jet functions inside of if statements. Is it the best way to do it? No. Because these are just standard Excel files. Now, there is one exception to that when we start talking about replicators. If you build that into an if function, it stops working. It wraps it and then it doesn't understand to expand that. So typically you want to try and build the filters the way it's going to be. I may have 15, 20 filters. Some I might use, some I might not. And you can build some functionality into it and just let them be true, false type of things.
And did you say how many filters can we use for one?
Great question. You can have up to 10 filters. Okay. There are ways around that, and we can kind of talk about that on day 3 if we really need to, but chances are most people don't need more than 10 filters. When you need to start using more than 10 filters and when you start having to link tables together, that takes up a lot of our filter space. And we may talk about that on day 3. But I just put this up here just so we had the correct, so you can actually see that. Okay, so let's talk about exercise 2. How many customers reside in Canada? What's our filter field?
Country code.
Country code. What's our filter value? Yeah. It could be Canada, could be CA, so be CAN. And that's where you could go to your browser come in here and say, okay, well, I'm going to go to my customer, and I'm going to scroll on down and look for my country code. If I can spell, there it is. And I could drop this down and I can say, okay. So Canada must be CA. Because we want to make sure we use the correct one. But your database might be Canada. Whatever it is, but this is a way you can find that. Or you can go straight to wherever it is it's pulling from a nav. You can go to the customer card, look at the country code, say, oh, it's all abbreviations.
Now, can you start typing in there and it pull down, or you have to actually?
Not in here, because this isn't showing you every value.
I'm talking about in the other.
In Excel?
Oh, over in the...
No, in the filtering. Like,
That's
at
cool.
the table
Yeah, you
portion, or,
Here in the tables, yeah, I can start typing in, say, customer.
and also on the fields portion?
Yes, I can come in here too. I can
Okay.
start typing in. You just have to type pretty quickly. If you have any type of pause, it's going to say, oh, you want... So if I type CO, took
Yeah.
a real brief pause and type U, and then would jump to U. So get your typing skills down. But yes, you can do that, or you scroll down, whichever way works for you. Exercise 3, when was invoice number 34567 posted? So what's our filter field on that one?
Invoice
number.
Invoice number and the value?
The-
34567. Yep, that invoice number. In 117, we've got 2 more. Which customers purchased more than 100 widgets, item 12345, on an invoice in August of 2007? So we need 3 filters on this one. What's one of them?
Purchase quantity.
Okay, yep. Purchase quantity, what's the value on that?
Greater than or equal to, or greater than 100.
Greater than 100.
And then greater than, well, or is it greater than 99? If you say greater than 100, it's going to
Greater
include the
than or
100.
equal
It,
to?
well, yeah, no, if you wanted to include 100, it's greater than or equal to. So this would be one of those instances, a lot of times when you're writing reports, although you're going to be writing reports for yourselves, if you're having to write it for somebody else, you might want to go back and clarify. Do you actually want 100 and above, or do you want just more than 100, right? Do you want to start at 101? And so that might be something you need to clarify with the person who requested the report. In this instance, I'm going to take it at face value and say greater than 100, or more than 100. So I'm going to say, hey, if they only ordered 100, they're not included, so I'm going to do greater than 100. What's another field, or filter?
Posting date.
Posting date. What's a filter on that look like?
August 2007.
We can't just say August 2007, we have to
One,
say,
2007.
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Sorry, yes.
08, 01, what was this, 07, dot, dot, 8, is it 31? Yeah, 07, I can never remember. I always have to do the knuckle trick. It's a little embarrassing to do that in front.
I'll sing the song, don't worry. Yeah. Does it matter sometimes when we're dealing with a large set of data, what way we filter? Like, is it
Which order?
Which order are you going to filter? Is it to shrink the data down faster?
It does not matter. When you create your JET functions, it's actually going to optimize it and say, okay, well, even though you put it in order ABC, it's going to rearrange the filters and say it's better for CBA
Okay.
or BCA. It's going to rearrange that for the optimal query. So it doesn't matter most of the time. There is one exception when we start talking about sorting, where order is important.
Okay.
But most of the time, no. All right, so we've got our posting date, our purchase quantity. What's our last one? Item number. The value? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sure.
So if we are pulling in a report and say, like in one field we have a report based on a certain filter, could we reference that filter, like that cell in another filter?
So if I had a query right here that was bringing back values that
Yes.
reference this,
Like say it was pulling in like an item number
Mhm.
based on a certain filter, and then you, in your next column, you wanted to pull in like a balance based on that number, could you do that or no?
it's exactly what we're going to do.
Okay.
Yep. Already thinking ahead.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's quite all right. Okay, last one. What is the total of general ledger postings for 2008 in the following accounts? 6110, 6120, 6130. So our first filter field,
GL account number,
GL account number. And what does that look like?
6110, the hole or whatever that thing is
Yep,
called.
6610 pipe.
Pipe,
Pipe.
6120, pipe 6130.
Yep. So it's pipe. Make sure you don't put a pipe at the end of it, because then it's going to be 6110 or 6120 or 6130 or, and Jet's going to be like, man, wait for another answer. And then I heard posting date in there as well. Posting date is going to look like 12/31/08. Perfect. All right. So that's really kind of, when we have a report, that's kind of one of the first things we want to do. Identify those filters. What is it that really we need to do? We need to filter on these types of things. Okay. So we actually already done with Module 1. Those are just some of the foundational concepts we need to understand. It's a formula with a function. We'll get this working so everybody can do this, but how to get to the JFX? Well, I just go up there and I click one of those buttons. How do I find information real quickly? I can go to the browser and look at the various tables and fields in there. So Module 2, we're actually going to get into the pre-development stages of our process. And in the back of our book, in the appendix, we have the basic report writing procedure. There's actually 2 versions of it. On page 5 is the abbreviated version, all 11 steps. And on 6, 7, 8, and 9, it shows the step with some additional information. Kind of an expanded version of that.
Page 1.5?
It's the appendix.
Oh.
Yeah. And the abbreviated is on page 5. The expanded is 6 through 9. So what we're going to focus on in this module is the pre-development. We're going to create that mock-up. We're going to select our filters, tables, and fields. Tables and fields, that's the hardest part for most people when we start doing this. We'll create our options page and we'll get our report page set up. Once we've done all those steps, we're good to go. We're ready to start the actual development. Create all those functions and queries, add formatting to make it look nice, and then finally prepare it for distribution. So a mock-up report can come in a number of different ways. I'm a big visual person. I've got a big board in my office, and anytime I'm working with a client in a GoToMeeting, I'm writing all over my board. I'm trying to do this. I'm making arrows. Anybody who walks into my office would look at that and think I'm a crazy person. But that's how my brain works, I see, and I want to see how things are linked together. So I've got this big hand-drawn thing that I can just quickly reference. But some people prefer to do it in Excel. I'll show you how to do that. Another way is, hey, I've already got this existing report. I need to create it in Jet. So here are some existing reports with notes. So we just take our existing report and write on it. I identify my tables, my fields, my filters, any sort of sorting. When we're building our mockup, these are the things we're concerned with. We're going to start off with just, what are my filters? Or no, sorry. What are my, that's a good question. What am I going to start with here? Having a little bit of a break right here. We are going to start with just the table headers. Bum, bum, bum. I need my state, I need my description, I need my gross sales, my year-to-date gross sales. Then we're going to add our filters on there. Here's another one where somebody actually took it and said, okay, well, I'm actually going to put the table names and the table fields right on there. I'm just going to match it up. Okay? I've got a sort. I've got my arrow here. I've got, hey, you know what? I need a spot for my report total as well. So how you do it, really, whatever works for you. All right? Everybody ends up with their own style. Okay? So let's kind of look at some of our mock basic reports here. On page 2.8, we have Cheryl's employee seniority report. Do we need to keep that information up there, or can we erase it? Do we know?
We can erase it. It was
Okay.
yesterday's.
Okay. Because that's what I'm going to use. Again, I'll stick with my style and Okay. So we've got Cheryl's report here. We're going to get familiar with Cheryl. She's going to ask for all kinds of stuff. Cheryl, the director of HR, needs to be more informed of employee seniority so that she can be certain the proper protocol is followed for events such as promotions and layoffs. I need a report that shows me a list of all active employees. I need to see each employee's number, their first name, their last name, and employment date. I need to sort the list so that the employees who were hired first are at the top of the list. And usually, I only need to see active employees, but sometimes I will need to list employees with other statuses. So as we go through this, there's a couple things we want to identify. In this stage, all we're concerned with what fields, what information do I want to see in my report. I'm not concerned about my filters yet. I'm basically saying, okay, as I build my report, right, I'm going to need headers. What is it that I want to see in there? So what is it that she wants to see?
Employee number,
Okay, so we can just put employee number,
first name,